Hi, welcome back to our cover highlight reel. This week we have two more covers for you. The first one is Faerie Rising by A.E. Lowen. Faerie Rising has a beautiful contrast between the deep blues in the exterior and the red, yellow, gold going on in the center. It makes the explosion really pop, and I absolutely love that. It has a magical symbol of some kind on the top. We don't need to know what the symbol means. That's the beauty of the book cover. We don't have to know anything about the book. We understand immediately that it's some kind of magical symbol. It has an extra glow to it, which is fantastic. It makes it stand out. So we can tell immediately that this is going to be some kind of magical book. There's a city underneath, which establishes it as an urban setting immediately. So we get this is urban fantasy. These fairies are going to be in the city. We know that without having to see anything else. Faerie Rising, the title is large. You can read it easily in thumbnail, which is brilliant. And it has a great font treatment to it. You'll notice the top R and the bottom R have a different trailing tail to that R. So you can see that it's been manipulated. This R on the top extends all the way down to that N, and it makes a nice tie for that entire title. Those kinds of details show that someone was really thinking about this cover design. I absolutely love that. You'll also notice the gold treatment on Faerie Rising. If you zoom in on it, the treatment itself shows that the metal has a little bit of texture to it. It has some shine to it. Someone has clearly been paying attention to this font. When you put it all together, it works beautifully as a whole. Deep contrast in the colors, but not too many colors also. The city lights in the windows blend beautifully with the color of this orange glow in the sky. It may seem like a lot of colors, but the mind takes it in as that yellow, orange, red explosion, sort of one thing, and then the deep blues of the sky around it. So there's a color palette that's actually relatively simple, which the mind likes, while giving still this impression of very complex art. It does both at the same time, and that's magnificent. These lights in the city that blend into the sky, you'll notice then blend into a slightly different yellow down underneath it to fit into that gold of Faerie Rising. So the city lights merge from one to another, and it ties the whole thing together. The lights of the city at the bottom blend beautifully with the color of the title. The lights of the city at the top blend with that sky. They come together to make a cohesive whole, and it's absolutely wonderful. So that's Faerie Rising by A.E. Lowen, the first book of binding. Go ahead and check that out. Our next book that we are going to look at is Skipping Out on Henry by C.L. Ogilvy. This is a really fun cover. It's a simple cover at first glance, but it becomes complex as you look at it more deeply, and I absolutely love covers like that. The first impression is that it is a very simple cover with this white dress and this pink background, the pink flowers, pink title, little detail of a monkey. That's sort of what you take in at first glance. If you start paying attention to it, though, you'll see that there is the suggestion of these buildings in the background that gives you a little bit of a feel for place. The monkey itself, being a slightly different color, pops even in the thumbnail, and it is one of those little details that says, okay, this isn't just a romance book, this is going to be funny. Whatever action comes in, it's going to be humorous, it's going to be a light and fun read. You get that immediately. Skipping Out on Henry, the title itself, is a brilliant treatment where it's simple, it has this elegant script to it, and yet, again, the details have been paid attention to. This S in skipping is much larger than the rest of the word. The H is much larger than the rest of the word. Both of these seem to have been manipulated in order to make the title work as a whole, as a piece of art in and of itself. You can also see that it has some three-dimensionality to it. Someone has added a little bit of texture to make it really pop, and you can see, if you pay attention, that the H is overlying the P. They have some shadowing in here. So you can see that the title itself has been treated like an artwork. I love when cover designers do that. It's really easy to just slap a title on top of the cover. You've done all this work on the art, and then the title looks like it's just sort of sitting there. In both of these covers, the title has been treated like an integral part of the cover. It has depth to it, it has texture to it, someone's paid attention to it, and it makes the cover work as a cohesive whole. There's also, in the skipping out on Henry, you notice these lines that they've used by the author name and underneath to separate the author name from the title. And then there's this little royal sort of signet above this bottom little tagline. And that shows you also one of those details that the mind isn't expected to take in immediately, but that you'll take in at that very second glance of the book, and it gives you a lot of information about what's going to be in that book without actually having to open it. A great cover always does that. A great cover will give you some information about the experience of the book. What kind of book is it going to be? Is it going to be funny, or is it going to be tense? Is it going to be dramatic? You'll get that feeling just from the cover itself. That emotional sense should reflect the interior of the book. I love both of these covers. They've done a fantastic job. Skipping Out on Henry by C.L. Ogilvy and Faerie Rising by A.E. Lowen. Check them out. Thank you for joining us on our cover highlight reel. If you would like to be in the cover highlight reel, if you would like to submit your own book, feel free to do that in the comments underneath right here in this video. Just comment it underneath and we will consider them for next week. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.